Hey guys, I've got another countdown for you, and this one really stuck out to me, mainly because somebody suggested it and it got over 80 thumbs up, but also because I couldn't believe I hadn't done a video on this subject yet. This countdown is very opinionated, but I made it a top 20, so hopefully I got most of the items everybody might think about when they hear the word RuneScape. We're going to count down the top 20 most iconic items in RuneScape, so let's get into it. Number 20. Chef's hats. Chef's hats have always been worn around RuneScape, even though they provide absolutely no bonuses. They're required to get into the cooking guild unless you've completed all the hard level Varrock tasks, and they're so iconic that even a troll in RuneScape, who is criticized by all the other trolls for only being able to cook burnt meat, wears one too, and his name is Burnt Meat. Number 19. Ham robes. The human against monsters robes are so iconic that I think everybody wanted them the very first time they ever bought membership in RuneScape. I remember being a noob stuck in the free-to-play worlds and always seeing these bright purple robes being worn by members. I always wanted them until I actually did become a member and found out that they basically don't do anything cool. Number 18. Fancy Boots. Fancy Boots are obtained as a reward for completing the Stronghold of Security, proving to Jagex you know how to keep your account safe in RuneScape. You can exchange them for the Fighting Boots, however most people end up getting the Fancy Boots specifically for their pretty rainbow color they possess. Fancy Boots unfortunately provide bonuses identical to those of Bronze Boots, and they can't be dropped, only destroyed. I remember whenever these boots first came out, I fell in love with them as a free player, but I was never able to actually get them for a few days because so many people told me that they got them from a random event. Number 17, the Bronze Dagger, mainly because of all of us getting it on the tutorial island for the very first time and thinking we were the epitome of cool until Vanica called our Bronze Dagger a little butter knife. RIP. Number 16. It's okay that Vanica called our dagger a butter knife because after that he gave us two of the most OP items in the game. Or, you know, so we thought at least. The wooden shield and bronze sword. These two items go together like husband and wife. I was originally going to just mention the wooden shield here, however I felt so compelled to include the bronze sword with it. I will never forget what the sweet taste of victory tasted like that day I soloed the giant rat on the tutorial island. Number 15. Anti-Dragonfire shields. Not this kind. The newbie kind that you get from the Duke of Lumbridge during the Dragonslayer quest, and it's probably one of the most recognized of all the items in RuneScape. Today, the anti-Dragonfire shield has a scratch on it, most likely from a dragon, but back in the day, anti-Dragonfire shields didn't have that scratch, and you could plainly see that the symbol on the shield was a sword, which made it even more cool. Number 14. Runes. Obviously, I had to include these bad boys just because the actual name of the game is, after all, RuneScape, and runes are very essential to our survival and transportation all across the world of Gielinor. I suppose the only real question now would be, which one is exactly the most iconic rune? Though I think I'll leave that one for you guys to decide. Number 13. Silverlight. It can actually be traded on RuneScape Classic if you guys didn't already know, but not in RS2 or RS3. I'm sort of sad that it received a graphical update on the 15th of December in 2009, because before that, I fell in love with this sword, guys, like on a personal level. I was so sad the day that I learned that having a rune weapon was actually better than Silverlight itself. I never wanted to actually get rid of it. Number 12. Speaking of rune weapons, one of the most iconic would definitely have to be the Rune Scimitar. Nowadays, getting 40 attack isn't really considered anything special, and it's actually quite easy and very fast to achieve that level for the Rune Scimitar, but back then, getting 40 attack seemed like such a huge accomplishment, and in a free-to-play world, you weren't considered a noob anymore if you had that cyan-colored curved sword. Number 11. A step up from the Rune Scimitar would definitely have to be the Dragon Longsword. For a long time in RuneScape, guys, before Abyssal Whips were released, the most popular outfit you could have was full rune, rune boots, a Legends cape, and a Dragon Longsword. It's definitely one of the most iconic items in the game. However, a lot of people have actually forgotten about how essential it was considered to have this weapon as your own. Number 10. Gilded Armor. Its bonuses are equivalent to rune armor, so basically it's just gold-painted rune armor. But even still to this day, if I see somebody wearing full gilded armor, I automatically, out of habit, see them as being more of a higher standard kind of player, and obviously quite rich. Number 9. Skill Capes. They aren't really seen as anything special now unless you have hard-level skill capes like 99 Herblore, Construction, Runecrafting, and so on. But back when they were first released, everybody wanted one, and for a long time you were not cool if you didn't have a skill cape. Skill capes are even how I got my name Moplox due to all the noobs asking high levels to see the emotes on skill capes. I love my hunter skill cape, as I'm sure you guys know, and I am a veteran player, so all you guys out there that have skill capes, no matter what skill it is, I think you're pretty dang cool for having one. Number 8, speaking of capes, the infamous fire cape. I used to try so hard to get to wave 63 in the fight caves when I was level 70 combat and got membership for the first time, but alas, my dragon longsword wasn't good enough to be up to the task. I have a fire cape, and sometimes, even though I got it a long time ago, I still like just sitting back and looking at it. It's almost hypnotizing. If I ever died and lost it, I would probably cry, and I'm not ashamed to say that. Number 7, the rune plate body. Only obtainable after the Dragon Slayer quest, it was at one point in time very much considered to be the best plate body in the game that you could have. And I'm talking about before Bandos, before the God Wars dungeons as a whole, before the fighter torso. The rune plate body is still commonly used today for a lot of things, and it definitely deserves a mention on this countdown. Number 6, the Amulet of Rage Quit, commonly known as the Amulet of Fury. If you die and lose this bad boy, you will probably quit. You know, for like maybe an hour. Everyone wants an Amulet of Fury, and I remember when I was a noob, I always thought that the Gnome Amulet was sort of the greener version of the Amulet of Fury, so before I could actually get a Fury, I always wore that around instead. Even when I got a Fury for the first time on OSRS, I was so excited. You are not a noob anymore once you get an Amulet of Fury. Number 5, the Abyssal Whip. I couldn't bring myself to exclude this item. Once you get going in RuneScape and start to develop your account for the first time and learn about whips, you immediately want one. Back in the olden days, you were really no longer considered a noob also once you finally got a whip. And also, who could ever forget the iconic sound they make either? Number 4, speaking of game sounds, ghostly robes, along with the infamous ancient staff and ancient magics. Back in the day, if you ever saw anybody with ghostly robes and an ancient staff in the wilderness, you knew you were done for. Even still today, when I see level 30s running around in ghostly robes, I still kind of get scared a little bit just because I know in my heart that they could honestly wreck me if they wanted to, even though I have these robes and the ancient spellbook. Number 3, the dragon chain body. Before all the torsos and bandos existed, the D-chain was a symbol of epicosity, and at one point in time, it was worth about 20 mil in RuneScape. Still to this day, I'm always hoping for that D-chain drop whenever I do my Dust Devil tasks for Slayer, because honestly, I know I'm never going to get one from the Cowfight Queen because I'm too scared to go to the Cowfight Queen, but don't tell anybody. Number 2, I really hate to say it, because they are just paper hats, but party hats, all the colors. I get a party hat in OSRS, and I'm like, meh, but if I ever got one in RS3, I would probably scream the word meh. Back in the real version of old RuneScape, I remember trying to give everything I had in my bank for this girl's yellow party hat. My bank was worth like 500k, so she obviously didn't accept it, but boy did I beg and plead. Number 1, coins. Lovely money, GP, gold. Everyone wants more gold. Everyone wants to be rich. Gold is everywhere in RuneScape, yet it's so hard sometimes to get more of it for some reason. This, without a doubt, has to be the most iconic item in RuneScape. For the entire history of RuneScape, gold has always existed, and will never not exist. And as I'm editing this video right now, I'm actually working on trying to get more gold. Everything we do in RuneScape, if you're not trying to get gains, you're trying to get more gold, and that is why it is number 1. Thank you for watching, guys. Real quick, I would just like to tell you all that the Nerds blog contacted me and wanted me to do a short little interview with them, and they asked me some really cool questions, so if you'd like to go read what I said, I'll leave the article in the description for you guys. Also, I'd really like to thank Zevoni, Scroozy, nice name, and Dungeon for donating. These guys actually donated quite a bit to the channel, and I love all 3 of you guys. Thank you so much. We're coming up on 42,000 subscribers already, and I know I say this a lot, but I will never be able to tell you guys just how much all of you mean to me. That's all I've got for you guys today, and I do plan on streaming after this video is up, so if you guys want to get in on that, I'll post a short video or something about it before I actually start soon, like I always do. Thank you for being cool every day, always, guys, and I will talk to you all later.